Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, and welcome to Work Trends with Megan and Biro. Whether you're here to network, learn, or share, we want you to have fun. During this live broadcast and Twitter chat, we'll discuss the future of work with smart and entertaining guests who value today's business and its impact on the world of work for the future. Stay tuned, because we start in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another informative Talent Culture Work Trends live podcast and Twitter chat. I'm here in Cambridge at the home office today, gearing up for more travel. I know all you Shermsters out there, your Sherm stars, everybody getting ready for D.C. I know I am. And I want to give a special shout-out to all my friends and sponsors out there. I love each and every one of you. I'm not sure who I love more today, or I don't even think it matters, all right? I'll just stop babbling. I just want to thank you all for being here, because I know that in addition to it being a really kind of like let's slow down time of the year, I know getting your attention and keeping your attention can be tricky these days, right? There's a lot of information out there on the superhighway. So thanks for being here. It means the world to me. So in the world, speaking of the world of human resources, professional development, networking, relationship building are not just nice to have, they're must-haves, right? And luckily, conference attendance is still, believe it or not, a solid way to maintain critical components of relationships, right? So with the workforce and workplace changing so rapidly, like we like to talk about every week here on Work Trends, regular conference attendance informs people about the latest trends, right? Kind of like we do here every week. Best practices, which are critical for career growth. Attending the right conferences also kind of affords you, if you're busy, like I know many of us are, an opportunity to accumulate credits, educational credits, that is, to maintain certifications. You know, from learning to networking to sharing, what it's like on the front lines, being around other people who are in your profession, right? It's absolutely invaluable. So a shameless plug for me, Megan and Biro from Talent Culture. I will be there at Sherm 16. I'm going to be hanging out in the Bloggers Lounge. I've got several meetings set up with many of you people out there. And I'm going to be speaking on June 22nd at 10:05 a.m. on the Smart Stage, of all places. Thank you. I'm very honored to be there, by the way, with my topic, future casting to improve corporate culture. So I'll have my crystal ball out there. I'll have my selfie stick, and can't wait to meet all of you. Many of the people who I've yet to meet. It's going to be a total fun blast. Can't wait. And so, you know, here with me today are distinguished guests from Sherm, go figure, where they're going to be speaking, networking, learning as well. So first up on the talent roster today is Alexander, a.k.a. Alex Alonso. He is a PhD. He is Sherm's Senior Vice President for Knowledge Development, overseeing Sherm Research and the Sherm Knowledge Advisor Service. He's also currently heading up the Examination Development and Operations for Certification, which sounds kind of fancy, doesn't it? We'll discuss that a little bit with him today. During his career, he's worked with numerous subject matter experts worldwide with the aim of identifying organizational trends, strategy, performance standards. He's got some upcoming speaking gigs as well at the Sherm Annual Conference, including Sherm Certifications, an update on the global standard for HR certification, the value of Sherm certification and the state of benefits in the workplace, an update on best practices and trends for 2016. So welcome, Mr. Alex.
Thank you, Megan, and thank you all. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I'm looking forward to talking a little bit about what we've learned and what we're getting ready to talk about at Sherm 16.
You're one busy guy. I'm excited to have you. Thanks for being here. And next up, we have Elissa. It's kind of like Melissa, but just with an E. This is the very first Elissa I've ever met in my whole life, by the way. And Elissa O'Brien is the Vice President of Membership at Sherm. She has more than 20 years of successes with strategic HR experience within the leadership realm, including diverse industries ranging from financial services to healthcare. Her specialized areas include development and execution of workforce and HR strategies and programs, information systems, service delivery mechanisms, as well as development of workforce scorecards and HR performance metrics, which are very important these days, as we know, that assess effectiveness. So hello there, Elissa. Thanks for being here to you.
Well, hello, Megan, and hello to everyone on this podcast, and thank you for having us. This is a great opportunity for us to really speak about professional development.
Good. Well, I'm excited you both are here. Your bios are so long, by the way, and impressive that, I could just sit here and just have a podcast on your bios, but that would be very much fun, would it? I think
every time I
see, not that you guys aren't fat, yeah. People would be like, okay.
Every time I read my bio, I think it should be an obituary. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Sorry.
So, speaking of obituaries, Alex, can you tell us what led you to be in the role you're in today and what's inspiring you career-wise?
Well, what inspires me career-wise and something that has always been an important part of what I wanted to do is making a difference in people's lives. And I've been fortunate in my career to really kind of hone in on helping people focus on their professional development and think about how they can achieve their desired objectives. And I was fortunate enough 5 years ago to really stumble upon SHRM and be given the opportunity to create products and services and ideas and research that really help kind of shape what it is that the HR profession is doing today. So for me, what gets me going every day is the ability to give back to HR professionals left and right.
And were you ever a practitioner yourself?
I was actually. In fact, there's a storied career in the aviation industry that most people would like to forget as an HR professional.
Oh my gosh, really? I'm fascinated by avionics, actually. I'm an airplane nerd, believe it or not. So maybe you and I, when we meet IRL, in air quotes, in caps, in D.C., maybe we can sit down and talk about that, right? You'd be surprised what people are interested in. It's not a yawn. I know you think it's a yawn for me, but it's not. I could actually geek out with you for hours on that topic. So very cool. So everyone's got their own story, right? Their own career story about what gets them up in the morning and what led them to be doing what they're doing. So on that note, let's move it on over to Elissa. Elissa, what motivated you to become, the big mucky muck over there as the VP of membership at SHRM?
Okay, so, I do have a very interesting story. I always wanted to be in HR. That's what my bachelor's degree is in, my master's degree is in, also in HR. I started with SHRM in 1993 as a volunteer leader. And as I increased my network of contacts, I was able to really, really advance my career into CHRO positions for major healthcare organizations within the Northeast and within your home state of Massachusetts.
Nice.
And obviously, you know what? You never know where life brings you, and you never know the contacts that you make. Because honestly, I was not looking for this job, but they sought me out. And I will tell you, I did not have this job on my radar screen. I was happy. I had a great CHRO position for a multi-state real estate agent.
Really?
A REIT, if you will. And we managed properties all over the country. And I had like the HR dream job.
Oh wow!
But
that
SHRM actually,
kind of exciting.
Yeah, it was. It was absolutely exciting. But SHRM called me, and because of my network and my relationships with folks at SHRM from a staffing perspective, they told me about this, and I will tell you, I turned down the job first, And my boss, Bob Carr, who is the Senior Vice President of Membership and External Affairs, and two of our other HR affiliates, HRPS and the Council for Global Immigration, he said something that actually clinched the deal for me. And he said, your profession is calling you. So with that, I said, okay, I am actually going to make the leap.
Yeah.
I decided not to relocate. And SHRM does allow me to have a work-family balance where I work half the time in Alexandria and half the time in Providence, Rhode Island. So
you're living the dream, lady. That's amazing.
I am living the dream.
Good
and honestly,
for you.
It's been a wonderful ride. 3 years. It's been absolutely incredible. And part of that is because I feel very strongly about my profession in HR, and I want to make sure that it advances. So.
Well, as somebody who's a former practitioner in the talent management and recruiting space myself, I would say that SHRM did a very good job in recruiting you on board. You are one of those gems that we call the passive candidate. You are somebody who was not actively looking, and that sounds like it worked out for the best. So let's get back to Alex. Alex, you still awake over there? What are you doing?
Yes, I am.
You
How's
got your
going?
coffee going? Excellent.
I'm busy tweeting and going. Yep.
Look at you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about the new research involving the most effective methods for advancing people's careers in HR. What's shaking over there?
Well, we one of the things that happens often is that people think about research and they say, well, it's kind of a snooze fest, right? They think, oh, good Lord, it's going to tell me all sorts of stuff. But one of the things we've been, that isn't really relevant to my role or really relevant to my job, and one of the things we've kind of been focusing on here this year in 2016 is focusing on research that would be effective or help people achieve effectiveness on the job and really help them understand what is the best way to develop oneself. So a couple of things that we've been working on over the course of the last 6 months is really what is it that people need to know about? What are those future trends that people need to understand? And believe me, I'm one of those people who's very skeptical. I don't like going to palm readers. I don't like going to the soothsayers, if you will, and kind of trying to figure out what it is that the future looks like. But I think that there's a need for us as a profession to really understand those future trends. And so we're doing quite a bit of research around what are those societal trends that are going to affect the talent pipeline, and what are those things that are really going to change over the course of the next 10 years that will affect where work is being done and how it's being done. So we're studying a lot of that. In addition, we're also taking a deep dive into professional development for the HR profession and saying, okay, well, let's ask folks, what is it that is most instrumental in helping them get to the next level of efficiency, of effectiveness? What's most instrumental? What are the developmental opportunities that people need to really hone in on to kind of determine whether, how they're going to get to be the CHRO of their enterprise or be a CHRO one day. And so we're doing a whole host of research really around what does the future look like, and what does the future look like for the profession? How do you get to your future goal? What do you do to get there? And so we've got a variety of different sessions that I'd encourage folks to come out to, not just on certification, but on the value of certification and the future of HR and what it looks like. And I'd ask really encourage folks to participate in these sessions, because we always want to hear back from folks, and we want to hear what you think about these trends that we see kind of coming up. And I'll give you an example of one that we hear about all the time. We hear about the impact of technology and what technology is doing for the workplace, and what it is that how it's changing the way that we look at our employees.
Absolutely.
And the employment relationship. And we want to be focusing on that, and we'll hear a lot about that during a lot of my sessions, especially when we look at the state of benefits and trends around benefits. And I really want to get as many insights as I can find from everyone who I get a chance to meet, because this is a really important piece for understanding where we're headed.
All right. Well, everybody who's going to be at SHRM, check out Alex. Check him out. We've got a cool SHRM app, by the way, a mobile app that's actually working. So I'm impressed, everybody. So we're going to be able to, hey, you know how it goes with mobile apps. Some days are good, some days ain't so good. But so we'll definitely check that out, Alex. It sounds really interesting. And Elissa, why do you think it's critical for HR pros to stay current right now? Talking about trends. What is this all about?
Definitely. Yeah, no. So, the legal and the compliance trends are a given, right? We just saw the FLSA, we had the ACA. I mean, there are so many things from a compliance standpoint that HR professionals need to be aware of and understand the impact on their business. But the real true great reason for attending and making sure that you stay current is really that it helps you make better decisions, and you're able to spot those threats. The trends that Alex was speaking about.
It sounds so scary. Tell us.
Well, the threats of, obviously the FLSA have impacted a lot of industries, in particular the not-for-profit. So, you want to make sure you have that competitive edge, and the way you have your competitive edge is really to look at what other businesses are doing and how you are competing on the global market for talent. So that's one of the major reasons for attending, professional development.
Mm-hmm.
It really is, for HR professionals, it's really important to understand the business trends so they can prepare their workplaces better. I mean,
especially now.
Listen,
you don't want to be left behind. It's so uncool.
You cannot.
You know what I mean?
And you cannot.
Yeah.
And honestly, you know what? More HR professionals need to read that Wall Street Journal. I get it every single morning. I'm looking at that because that's going to give you a really big preview of, how's the dollar doing globally? It's not doing so well. So we know that there are things about outside the spectrum of HR that we really need to know about. That's what this conference is all about. We need to also, another major thing that we've been talking about for the last, 15 years is the skills gap. Well, we're living it now. So these conferences really help us really to give us the most up-to-date, building yourself as a key expert in these leading trends. And that's what you bring to your organization that will get you noticed and that really will push organizational effectiveness because you are preparing your businesses for what's going on, 6 months to a year to 5 years down the road.
Yep. Totally hear you on that. And so, Alex, talk to me about competency-based certification. Why should we care? And what are the advantages of obtaining recertification credits at the SHRM Annual Conference? Because I know there's a group of people out there who are still like, does it really matter? Like, what? Tell us just a little bit more about what's happening over there on that front.
That's a great question, and one of the things that we hear about all the time, and when we talk about, to Alyssa's point, really understanding the business and understanding how to get things done within the business community, we hear often that there's a kind of a cap on leadership opportunities for the HR profession and really achieving those high points of leadership or those high positions for leadership. We also hear that there's a cap for developmental assignments, and when we look at research from a variety of other places, whether it be Deloitte, whether it be DDI worldwide, that really focus on leadership development, what we hear is that HR has been too focused on kind of the knowledge pieces, the components that really are all about understanding laws and understanding what it is that somebody should know and how to do something, but they really don't focus on what is it that I have to understand and what are those skills I need to make sure that I'm applying that knowledge and taking it to the next level. And I kind of liken it to the driver's license exam, if you will. If you're thinking about whether or not somebody's a competent driver, you want to know, number one, do they know the laws? That's great. That's your basic road rules test, right? But then the second piece is, what are your road skills tests? What are you going to do? What do you do when you're dropped into a situation where you have to handle a difficult situation? And you only get that from putting somebody out there and testing them on what it is that they would do in those situations. And so when I think about competency-based certification, what we're trying to kind of really focus on is making sure that we're capturing both sides of the equation, right? What does it take to be a great performer? Well, it takes the knowledge, but it also takes the ability to apply that knowledge, and that's why we harp a great deal on competency-based certification, because when you think about the SHRM CP and the SHRM SCP, it's about building not just your skill set in terms of what you know, it's also about how you use it. And the number one reason I'd argue that you should use or leverage any kind of conference, including SHRM 16, is really to focus on not just building the technical knowledge, but also that kind of what you do with it, those behavioral skills, right? You're basically practicing those behavioral skills by attending this type of conference, and you're getting that kind of training because the programming is designed to provide you that kind of competency-based training, that competency-based learning that other leaders use and that other people use and take advantage of.
Sounds pretty legit to me, you know? I hear you.
Yeah, well, yep.
All right, so let's talk about networking. Let's talk about some people love it, some people hate it, right? How do each of you look at networking? And we can start with Elissa. I mean, what does networking mean to you now? And how is that different from, say, last year even? When you and I were hanging in the green room just before, you gave me an interesting tidbit of knowledge, right? Numbers are up, actually, for conferences.
Right.
This is something I'm sort of intrigued by and feeling in my own life, actually, as somebody who spent a lot of time online in the last, say, 6 years or so. I'm actually finding conferences to be really refreshing and really getting out there and getting back to eye contact and meeting people and giving hugs and all that stuff that, you know,
absolutely.
I'm not above giving hugs, by the way. You know what I mean? Like, it's all about relationships, right, and doing that. So
right.
Tell me a little bit about that
right.
from your perspective.
Well, so for instance, and I gave you the tidbit about we are seeing a lot of growth in our chapters of SHRM members, and the chapters are the ones that are local, and they are doing activities local, face-to-face. So with that said, I think most savvy conference attendees, these are the folks who normally go year to year to these conferences, yes, they're coming for the content, but they're mostly coming because of the live events and making those connections with like-minded people. I think that there is, we can get anything online, let's face it.
I was
right?
just going to say, right?
We can really do that.
Somebody who spends a lot of time creating content, right? I can get
right.
content online. I don't need,
right.
but for me, it's about sharing, learning, meeting people, getting real. You know what I mean? Like, to me, there's that whole thing going on that I think is becoming more and more of a thing. And I would say 2-3 years ago, everyone was kind of feeling a little jaded on the conference thing. Like, hey, we don't need it.
I think
we got it.
Right.
Oh.
We got LinkedIn. I hear a
yeah.
lot. Oh, I got LinkedIn. Well, you got LinkedIn. That's great.
Yeah.
Like, do you really get to know the person? When I do any type of speeches and workshop, and I do a number of speeches for SHRM, you know, I like to get my audience to interact first. We do a networking exercise because that's what, you know, we all have something in common, right? You know, that little saying, you know, there's, 6 degrees of separation. We always have type of, and I do feel that, you know, especially if you're coming to a conference with some colleagues and friends, separate. Make sure you separate from them, because by connecting with other attendees, not only that exposes you to new ideas, perspectives, attitudes, resources that will truly actually make you a more smarter person. I always say, you know what, when I attended conferences, I felt a lot more smarter after leaving it, mostly because of the content, but also by meeting and networking with people.
Yeah,
that could
I
help
somehow
me.
just feel more connected. I just feel more connected. And everything I do, if I'm doing a speaking engagement, most of my speaking engagements have some sort of a Q&A going on where I'm actively engaging that audience. I'm not just up there as a thought leader or whatever it is, whatever other, title anyone wants to give me, right?
Right.
What do you think, Alex, from your perspective? What does this mean to you?
Well, I think, the beauty of this particular issue and the beauty of networking in general is I like to get other people's perspectives because I have a feeling that sometimes I need to answer shop to really get a feel for what a problem that I have or a situation that I'm dealing with. And so I look at networking and I say to myself, I want to share a war story and figure out how it is that I'm looking at it or failing to look at it the right way. And then I also want to hear what other people have to say and what they're dealing with so that then I can kind of give them my perspective. So for me, it's really about the sharing and really sharing what it is that I'm dealing with so that they can kind of give me a reality check when I need it.
Mm-hmm. So do you feel like conference material is more applicable now than it was in the past from a content perspective, Elissa?
Absolutely. I really do. I think, with market research and understanding, SHRM does a lot of research as Alex leads that charge. And I think a lot of our conference programming really is geared towards what is happening and the future of what is happening in order to better prepare the HR professionals. So I do think that and having access to like the conference app, I think people go into conferences, they really need to plan out because there is so much to offer, in particular with our annual conferences. Our specialty conferences, they're specialty and they're easier to maneuver. But I will tell you, with our annual conference, you really need to map out. Yep, have a plan.
Have a plan and stay hydrated. Speaking of hydration, I'm on a lot of these Mucky Muck VIP party lists, which I'm excited about. I tend to go to a lot of those while I'm there. But so, what do you say to people who think conferences are just a way to get away and party? By the way, what do you think, Alex? What do you think about people who are they're using this for all the cocktail parties? What would you say about that?
Well, my argument is
there are
that
people who are doing that.
I'm sure there are people that are doing that, but my argument is, you know what? Every party and every bit of learning has always been made better by fun, right? And I argue that if you're going to really network and you're really going to understand what it is that it takes to get to know how things work, you got to do it with a little bit of lubrication and some liquid courage. So I support it wholeheartedly.
All right, respect.
Megan, I have one other tidbit about that one. I had a boss, a CEO, who said, "Oh no, we're not going to send you to that because you're just going to party." And I challenged him on that, and and then what I did was I actually gave him a full-fledged executive summary of all the things that I was implementing. And then, within the year and a half, because I went to that conference. So, unfortunately, there are still people out there who just think it's a party. But
that's all right. Whatever it takes, right? All right. So we've got about 90 seconds left. In 90 seconds or less, Alex, what's the most embarrassing thing you've done or seen on stage at SHRM?
I have a great one for this, Megan.
What do you got?
Great one for this. My first SHRM conference ever. I'm actually working it, and I'm a staff member. I'm giving a speech. I'm unveiling the new SHRM competency model, and sure enough, I fall off stage. And it was one of the most embarrassing but humbling moments I've ever had, and I really, still to this day, look back to it and think of it fondly. So
that's awesome. And Elissa, what about you?
So I'm just going to say, what happens at SHRM's Tuesday night entertainment will stay very confidential. But I've heard
Are you sure?
That
Are you sure about that? Because I'm going to have my selfie stick.
I am not going to divulge anything, but let me tell you something. The Tuesday night event, you really do see HR professionals really basically what I would say taking their hair down, so to speak, because they don't have that opportunity when they're doing something for their own company. They're the role models. They're the folks who are handling a lot of confidential and serious and sensitive issues. But when they come to the Tuesday night event, whether it's Tim McGraw,
it's fabulous.
Lionel
it's
Richie,
totally fabulous. Agreed.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
It's all good. Hey, listen, we've had so much time we're turning into pumpkins. So I'm excited for SHRM, and thank you both for being my special guest today. And we will see you all in D.C. Utilize the SHRM16 hashtag if you would. There's going to be so much going on that Twitter feed. We might even blow up Twitter, which would be a lot of fun. So thank you, everybody. Let's take this party on over for our Twitter chat right now, and we will be in touch soon. Over and out.
Thank you.
Thank you.